Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another great edition of my Grue Rume show. For the Grue Rume show today, I got a very awesome guest. He's a professional wrestler, a Army vet, and I'm talking about the Super Beast. And I'm really looking forward to talking to him about his wrestling career, about being in the military, and everything else. I am Rocco Cross. I am the host at Stutters. I am the host of the Grue Rume show, and my interview with the Super Beast will be coming up very soon. This is my groom, and as always, my gruelings. Welcome to my nightmare. So stay tuned and let's do some lucha. All right, buddy. Welcome to Gru, and thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Definitely, man. So the first question I want to ask you, I see you're before we start talking about wrestling, like I see you're an army vet, and what was the
Yeah,
military?
no, I'm a combat veteran. I invaded Iraq 03 to 04, and back 2005 to 2006, and
Wow.
that's pretty much how I spent my 20s. You know, invading the Middle East.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
That was pretty wild at its moments.
What was there anything like good like about the military base? It sounds like it's definitely like very fast pace and
Well, I did a lot of convoy security, so I was like base to base, on MSR Tampa and on the freeways and whatnot through Iraq. But I just liked it because every fob everywhere you went had a gym, and most of the gyms were really really good, and they had most of the DFAC food was really really good. So they had a really good gyms and really good food, and for me that's a win.
oh yeah, of course. And what drew you to love this amazing sport that you're part of now and who were some of the guys that you loved watching?
Mm. So let's see, it goes back way since I was a little kid. I mean, I'm in my 40s, so I grew up with 80s wrestling. Like Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, Macho Man, and the Ultimate Warrior. And I went to a few house shows in Sacramento as a little kid. Was able to actually see Hulk Hogan in real life and the Ultimate Warrior, and they're bigger than life. And I was a little wrestling fan as a kid. Then my teenage years during the Attitude Era, the '90s, I was still into wrestling. With Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker, Mankind. I was really involved during that. And then into my 20s, I fell off just because I was in the Army and I was deployed. I wasn't really tracking.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
my mid to late 30s after I'd gotten out and started following wrestling again. And yeah, I've always been into wrestling.
Nice, nice. And where did you wind up training at to wrestle?
Hmm. Originally I was just a dumbass, like 16, 17-year-old kid. We would just do it. I mean, we weren't formally trained. We would just like almost like some ECW backyard,
Yeah.
set up mattresses, and just beat the shit out of each other. And then initially I started training in Oklahoma in 2005. I was still in the Army, but on the weekends I trained with Chris Carnage. There's Chris Scott was his real name. He wrestled as Chris Carnage. He's passed now. He died some years ago,
Oh,
about 4 years ago. He'd passed, but yeah, it was my brother who got me into it, and I was just a wannabe. I wanted to be a wrestler. I was just a wrestling fan. I lifted weights, and thought The Rock was cool, but I had no idea how to become a wrestler, like where you actually went. I just figured the WWE had to find you. And my buddy Chris, he had a ring, and he ran a wrestling school. This is, like I said, in Oklahoma, and I met him we worked at a nightclub together doing security. And he was like, "Yeah, I run a wrestling school. You should, you'd be good at it." And I was like, "Well, yeah." He's like, "You ever thought about it?" And I was like, "Well, of course." I just didn't know how you went about said things. So initially, I started training under him with one-on-one time, in his backyard in the ring, and out in Guthrie, Oklahoma, with Tommy or Terry Pantera. I don't want to say his real name, with Terry Pantera. Then little classes, some in New York as I traveled. Then when I got back to California, I went to a few schools, and then I had a lot of one-on-one training. It's not like I went to one place; I went to a series of places
oh,
to learn. and I had a lot of one-on-one time with like a lot of good guys, and outside of wrestling, I was already like really athletic. You know what I mean? I'm not a bodybuilder. People always like, oh, you getting ready for a show, and I'm like, no, I don't bodybuild. I mean, I exercise, but like I'm still in the martial arts, like jujitsu, judo, and
Oh,
MMA. And I do a lot of stuff like that. So I'm big on wrestling. Like real like collegiate takedown. That kind of conditioning. So it just kind of all transitioned really well.
nice. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're training for all of that, like from the mixed martial arts, and I mean, wrestling is definitely along those lines. So you
Yeah,
definitely transitioned well with it.
I did it though. I did like tumbling, like gymnastics tumbling, and
Oh,
I
wow.
went on to learn lucha libre, and then Japanese strong style, then like
Yeah.
Filipino technical in the Philippines they'll do like a little bit more technical with how they do things. And I got into like because like like they have the underground fight style, where it's not really pro wrestling. It's a shoot work. I was really good at that.
Nice.
Throughout Japan and whatnot in a few places. I just lost my title actually in Austria a few months ago to Martin Payne for the World Underground Wrestling, and there was no ring. It was like an underground World War II Nazi
Oh my
bomb
God.
shelter in Austria. And it's some wild stuff.
Wow, you definitely wrestled all over the place, huh?
Yeah, and I've been to a few countries. I've been to the Philippines, Japan, Thailand, Germany, Austria, America, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Hawaii. Yeah, I've wrestled all those places.
Wow, that's amazing. And how did you come up with your like name, your wrestling name, and the whole gimmick with the mask and the outfit and everything?
No, originally, I mean, just because of the way I just kind of am in life, just with my exercise and just as I just attack the day, like it's a beast. It's like my buddy's was, he's a super beast, it's a super beast. I couldn't think of a name, so I went with that. And as for the gimmick, it's just essentially I'm just being myself times 1,000. It's like I'm not really. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're like a luchador." I'm not really a luchador. I'm
Yeah.
trained. I'm kind of like a masked monster, but not really. It's like if anything, it's just let my demons out of the bag. You can just get to let the evil out. Get to be this being personified, if you will, and just essentially being myself and getting it all out of my system. Character work and just kind of just be me.
Nice, man, nice. And like you definitely are fit, like you're jacked, and how many days a week do you like train with like weights and stuff?
Pretty much every day I train daily almost. I mean, I take days off when I'm tired or when I'm traveling or when I'm hurt or
Mhm.
sick, obviously. But like I worked out this morning, got up early, went and did my cardio. After this, I'm going to probably take a power nap and go work my legs. But tomorrow's a traveling day, so I'm not going to work out at all, and I'll pick right back up Thursday.
Damn.
If I have a show coming up, I train light. Like if I have a couple of weeks off, I just go really overboard. I'll train 2, 3 times a day and just hammer my body in, just to utilize the time. And then if I have a show coming up, I'll back off, let my body heal, and go strict on my diet to actually look the part and just be ready.
Wow. And do you do mostly weights, or do you like
I do
mix
everything.
that?
I
Oh
do like
yeah, you do
calisthenics,
everything.
biometrics, weights. I don't do a lot of heavy weight lifting. Like, do I try to bench press like 500 pounds? No, I barely even bench. And when I do, I mean, when I was younger, I did like in my 30s, 20s and 30s, in my 40s. No, it's like, a lot of dumbbell work, machine work, cable work, push ups, a lot of dips, you know,
Okay.
things like that. I don't really do a lot of bar work, and the bar work I do, it's not heavy. Just I don't want. I'm old. I've had surgeries. My joints are old. I'm about to be 45. You know what I mean? So it's like I can't be pushing it as hard as I used to. I mean, there was a time when I was bench pressing 500 pounds and
Wow.
doing all that and wrestling. That's, we do that, when you're young, like kind of like when you're 40s. It's
Yeah.
not really smart and so hard. Your joints are already shot and you don't want to add more damage to them, especially when you're trying to get longevity out of all this.
Exactly. And what's your like? What do you eat? Like, what's your food?
I eat a
What
lot of
kind of
meat.
food do you like?
I eat a lot
Meat?
of
Yeah.
like right now, like because I try to keep a low carbs here for the most part, not a lot. If I do any carbohydrates or sugars, it's before or after I work out. But for the most part, like during, I just live off a lot of meat. A lot of meat, like for breakfast, I'll get like a half pound of ground beef. I'll cook it. I'll cook a bunch of sausage. I'll chop it up, put it in the ground beef. Then I'll make like 6 eggs, over medium with the yolks, bust them, mix them in. So I have this big protein slop goulash thing of just meat and egg, and I'll eat that. Then have like one of those Dannon yogurt drinks just to help with
Yeah.
digestion, or and an avocado maybe. And then before I work out, some watermelon and eat half a bucket of chicken from KFC. I'm just kind of whatever. As long as
It's about
when there's nothing coming, I got nothing coming up. I'm a little loose with the diet. I'll get a little bit thicker. Don't go try
okay.
to be as lean, but as we get closer to a big show date, if it's a big one, then yeah, like normally a few weeks out, I start dialing it in and training not as heavy, more like lightweight, higher reps, focus more on like conditioning, do more cardio and more jujitsu. Jujitsu is a good one for the cardio. That just turns me to turns you to a cardio animal doing that.
Oh wow. But yeah, I agree. Fried chicken is so good.
It is. It really is.
It really
It really
is.
is.
And I know you've been wrestling for a while now. You wrestled all over the world. Is there is there a person who's been like the toughest guy you ever were in the ring with?
Like the coolest or the toughest?
Like the toughest, like stiffest or toughest, like someone who like really went
It's hard,
in
man.
there
Like
hard.
I work in Mexico pretty much predominantly, and that's pretty much anyone that's good is really stiff, really snug, and really,
Um,
they're all whether it's the Mecha Wolf, or Ricky Banderas, or Alberto Del Rio, Black Taurus, they're all tough.
yeah, no,
They're all
no,
tough.
they all look it too, and the black tourist that's another guy. Like it's not the same. It's not the beast on
Same dude.
AEW.
The Beast Mortis, Black
Yeah.
Taurus, same guy.
Okay, it's the same guy,
Same
right?
dude. Yeah, same.
'Cause-
He's the same gimmick. Just AW, they call him the Beast Mortis, but yeah, he's also. I mean, in Mexico, he'll always be known as Black Taurus.
yes, yes,
He's
yes.
always going to be known as that. That's just the iconic monster of Mexico. He's one of them. He's a blind. I love working with him. I love wrestling with him. I've had some pretty good hard hitting battles with that dude. He's a juggernaut.
I mean he's in really good shape too. Like
Yeah,
you can definitely see like when he wrestles like his body and stuff. Like that's
yeah,
another guy that's in amazing shape.
yeah. No, he's a powerhouse. Cage is another one. I've
Oh
wrestled
yeah,
Cage too. We're all from the same region. Me, Brian Cage, Jeff Cobb, and J.R. Kratos. They're all from the same region, and we all came up around the same time, training with each other and whatnot. They're a few years up on me, but I've got to work with all of them except Jeff. I've trained with Jeff a lot. I never actually had a match with him, but no, J.C. Mateo. He's still one of my best buddy buds.
nice.
He lives in Las Vegas too. And we both ended up moving to I have a house in Las Vegas. I'm not there a lot. I
Oh,
pretty
okay.
much Mexico, but when I do have a home in Vegas, and I get to see a lot of my guys there. Like that's where Cage is, Cobb, and well, Cobb's technically in Japan, but when he comes back, he goes to Vegas. So he lives out in America. He's like me, dual residency.
Nice, nice. And you also worked with the Mill
Yeah,
More
Ricky Banderas.
yeah, Ricky
No,
Ricky Band.
that's like my big brother. He adopted me some years ago. Which was an interesting story because when I first started, I was coming up with my gimmick. That was a character that thought was awesome and looked up to. I used to watch his work.
Oh yeah.
I love the presence, and so Super Beast, big mask, no talking, big scary guy. And remember one day that when I first met him was at the Crash. It was like a meet and greet. I got there at Mac Wolf. We were going to work, and he was already everyone was set up out with their tables, selling merch and whatnot. And I didn't want to be a mark and walk over, like, oh hi, huge fan, huge fan. I didn't want to do that, so I'm trying to like casually nonchalant, look at all the merch tables, make circle my way around, I'm a big guy, he's a big guy. I figured we'll
Yeah.
talk about lifting weights or something, and he kind of like looks up, he looks up, he looks up a third time, and he goes, "Hey, you're the Super Beast," and I'm just like, "You got to be fucking kidding me! You fucking serious? Oh my god, no more just knows who I am." And so minor marks started to go off, but you got to put a lid on that. Like you got to shut that off. Like, yeah, it's me. Start making small talk. We talk about working out, food, and then we ended up just taking off because it was hours before the show. So we just went out, went to eat, hit the gym, and then from
Nice.
there it was just on. Like he's been fucking always been there for me, like a go-to guy. Like he'll come to my house in America, or I go to his house in Mexico. And then when I got hurt, had surgery, had my knee rebuilt in Mexico City, he fucking took care of me. He checked
Oh
on me
wow.
every day, brought me food, fucking like just like a straight, like a real big brother, like had my fucking back, you know.
Damn.
So and to this day, we talk pretty much every week, or we get a chance to see each other. I could fly out, hang out at his house for a few days. We eat, sleep, and train, and we lift a lot of weights, watch a lot of '80s movies. We're big on the '80s movies.
Nice.
He's
Yes.
a few years older than me, but we'll put on like Commando or Terminator 2 or things. Conan
Oh
the
yeah.
Barbarian. There's a lot of stuff. Star Wars. There's a lot of
Definitely.
a lot of retro living when we're together. It's eat, sleep, train, watch '80s movies, '80s action movies.
You ever watch the horror films from that era too?
Oh yeah. Oh no, I absolutely loved them. Absolutely loved them. That was the '80s, all of like the horror movies, the action movies. I was into all of them.
Oh my God. I'm a huge horror fan. Like I grew up on like Chucky and Freddy
Mm.
Krueger and Michael Myers,
Jason Voorhees.
Jason. Yeah, definitely, definitely. I love those movies.
Yeah, no, we definitely get into that. You know, Clearly, I mean, obviously, my character's kind of evil based. Like meant to be scary. You know what I mean? It works, but yeah, that inspiration came from Jason Voorhees too. It was like Mil
Um,
Mortis, Jason Voorhees, the Predator. There's like little things that I kind of got my like body language and
okay.
just ways to design my how I'm like you're when you do character work, you got to be can't just stand there. You got to recreate little body languages, especially if you wear a mask and you don't talk. You have to be able to talk without a mask, and body language is the way to do it.
Well, yeah, because like you were saying, Jason always had a mask on, and but the way he moved,
Move.
and you knew when he was coming, you knew what he was about to do just by the way he moved.
Mm-hmm. No, it was cool. Just good deliver the predator, with the little hand thing.
Yes.
I just stole a lot of that. I definitely stole a lot of that.
Those are amazing. That to me was like the best era of films though, and music too.
Yeah, '80s had good music. Yeah, it was. I like the '80s. I like the '90s. 2000s were okay. It wasn't until we got to like 2010 I just kind of looked around like, what's happening to the world? It's getting stupid out here. I don't like it.
I know you're absolutely right. Yes.
Yeah,
And
I just don't like it.
I saw you also do some stuff with Triple A too, and now like they're working with the WWE, so
Yeah,
that's more eyes on it.
yeah. No, I mean, my workload's picked up since then, since the purchase. I don't know the fine details. Obviously, I don't work up in the main office, but from my understanding is they bought most of the shares of AAA and have a lot of control over them, using it as a developmental program. My workload's picked up. I mean, I'm not on the main roster at AAA. I work like the lower house, the house shows.
Yeah.
around Mexico. They're good. We're in names, but we're not on, like it's not on like the main. It's not the main roster. I don't work the main roster shows like the big ones. You know what I mean? I work like in the low to mid grades, but they're still AAA shows. And they're Pagano will be there. Psycho Clown. We'll have like
Yeah.
LA LA Park Junior. Son of LA Park. We'll have you never know who's coming in. Texano Junior. And so we get a lot of good name, a lot of mainstream guys, so it's fun, I know them all. I've worked with pretty much all of them at some point, and Mexico, I still have a wrestling career. In America, it's a little harder just due to my age, and,
Uh,
being if you're over the age of like 30, 32, they don't really look at you. And also,
oh my
America's
God.
America's severely oversaturated with wrestling. Like there's everyone, they're got to the point where the fans bought rings, started their own wrestling companies, and started training people. And you got people who don't really understand what wrestling is or how it is as a business. And, every month the next big thing gets created, the next big
Yeah.
superstar from someone gets so watered down. It's like, you don't even know who anybody is. And even the pay is crap, and it's just, every show, the big, they might have maybe 300 people, or opposed to a small show in Mexico is like 2,000 people.
Wow.
We just did the Port of Artist show here. I think we had like 4,500 people, and the weekend before was Cancun. We broke 6,000 people.
Oh my God.
And the payout's great. I can make a lot of money, good exposure, work with names, massive crowd. It's just more. It's awesome. I'm not really out here being a pro wrestler versus when I go back, it's like, yeah, I just got in from Mexico, and they're like, oh yeah, but you never done anything. We'll give you $50, and you're going to lose to this guy, and no, we're not paying for your hotel room or travel. It's like, why am I here?
I know.
Why am I here? I need to be in Europe. I need to be, in Mexico. I need to be in Japan. I
Yeah.
need to be one of these countries where I'm actually respected and treated like a real worker. So
Exactly.
I don't really. It's become a watered down, saturated, just everything's more worried about going viral, and they don't understand. It's like viral's cool, having followers is cool, but if you can't engage like the live crowd, like that's where the money is.
Hmm. And what's it like working in front of a huge crowd compared to like a smaller crowd?
Well, I'm used to the big crowds now, but it's just when if I have to go back to America and I'm back in front of like 100 people, 100, 200 people, it's kind of depressing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll do my job. You can still do the job. Fans buy a ticket, you got to deliver, but it's like
Sure.
the pay is not good. The merch sales aren't high.
Mm.
Normally, like whatever, a lot of the opponents I get, not all the time, but a lot of the opponents I get are some new kid that sucks, who's probably going to hurt himself or hurt me or just fuck everything up and make us both look stupid. So it gets irritating,
Oh my.
or they've been in wrestling for 2-3 years and they're like know-it-alls. They already got it figured out, like I already know everything. This is what needs to happen. We're going to call the match like this. And I'm just looking like, shut up. No, we're not. Just look, dude. I've been doing this shit since you were 7. Be
Yeah,
quiet.
right.
Be quiet. Like I'm not. Don't get me wrong. We all get old and we age out. And I'm getting there, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
So shut up.
Nice. And when you aren't wrestling, what do you like doing during your free time?
All I do is eat, sleep, and work out, man.
Yeah.
Sleep train. I do jujitsu in the mornings if I can. I do my weight training in the afternoon. Go back a second time, do weight training again. Or I'll do lucha practice, or I'm sleeping, or I'm eating. I don't really. It's I don't do anything but eat, sleep, train, and just get ready for the next show. If I have downtime, I just like to have downtime. I'm locked away in my little condo in Mexico where nobody can
Hmm.
find me.
When when you're like traveling and sometimes like a lot of the wrestling shows they're done pretty late. Like, do you have any spots that you like to go eat at like when it's late after the show?
It's food, and preferably some kind of beef or chicken. Like if not, whatever. But most like here in Mexico, it's as soon as we're done, we could go. There's taquerias open until 4 a.m. We could go in. I
Oh,
get
oh,
get like 10 tacos, just put them down. It's all good food. Great tacos. Great. It's like there's no GMOs, no additives, no weird
Oh,
hormones. All the food's really organic. It's all freshly killed or freshly cropped.
oh, wow.
That's another huge plus. I like living down here because, like, when I say Mexico, I don't want you to think Tijuana. Like, I live in Puerto Vallarta, like, wait, like 1,000 miles south in the jungle. Like there's right here in the mountains on the ocean. There's jaguars out here. There's 50-foot saltwater crocodiles, poisonous snakes. There's freaking there's giant snakes that'll eat you. Just wrap up and just eat a human.
Oh my God.
There's sharks. There's all kinds of cool stuff here, and it's all thick jungle. They just and I love it.
Wow, that talking
Fresh
about
food,
horror films, right?
fresh food. No, this place is great. It's really quiet. It's beautiful. The food's amazing. And they filmed The Predator here too, actually.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's where they filmed it.
yeah, it's where they filmed The Predator, which I've been to the set a few times. I made it to the chopper, which is like
Nice.
really cool. It's like my favorite movie ever. So it's kind of like I have a personal connection with the place.
Oh yeah, definitely. Nice, nice. And do you have a superhero and villain that you like the most? I don't know if you follow like Marvel and DC and all
I'm a
that.
huge comic book weirdo.
Okay.
Huge comic book weirdo. No, villain wise, it's for Marvel it'd be Doctor Doom, and it's not because they're making a movie. Doctor Doom's always been my favorite bad guy. Like he's just
Yeah.
fucking awesome. And then for DC it's Bane.
Nice.
And actually, in the DC fan base online, they have me listed as the real world Bane, which I thought was
Wait,
awesome.
really?
Yeah, when someone showed me that. Superhero wise, probably I'm a big. I've always had a thing of like Wolverine since I was like a little kid. It's a
Yeah.
throw between Wolverine, the Punisher, and the Incredible Hulk, and Ghost Rider. Those
Oh,
are
I
like,
love Ghost Rider. Yes.
especially the iteration of Ghost Rider, like the Cosmic Ghost Rider, where it's the
Mhm.
Punisher who becomes the Ghost Rider, and
Yes.
the Herald of Galactus who becomes the Herald of Thanos, and he's just super powerful. Like that's so I like definitely like that. So it'd probably be those. I mean, ultimately, lifetime favorite is Wolverine. Then it's
Okay.
Punisher, Incredible Hulk, Ghost Rider, and Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. And if you were gonna do a karaoke song, what do you think you would sing?
Well, I'd have one. I don't sing. I'm not really a singer. I'd have to be really shithouse drunk. Like I'd have to be hammered. Like I'm gonna establish that right now. I'd need a lot of alcohol, and it would have to be a song that's meant not to sound good. So it'd probably be like something like obnoxious and not meant to sound good, and just people just like what? I'd probably be American Badass by Kid Rock. You know,
Yes.
just believe just completely. Like I wouldn't pick a classic or vintage. Like God, that was such a great hit, and then go murder it. I'm gonna pick something that's meant to be fucking sung. When you're just tore back and just, and it's gonna sound good no matter what.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, yeah. If I do karaoke, first of all, I have to be drunk too because I don't like singing either. But
Yeah,
but if I do one, I'll usually do one where everyone knows the song. So
yeah.
I'll just start it off, and then everyone starts singing, and then I don't even have to sing.
It's a good one. Smart move.
Yeah. And I guess like the last thing I'll ask you is if there's anything coming up for you and where can fans follow you at?
You can find me on Instagram. It's I am the Super Beast, like I am the Super Beast, or Chris the Super Bestie Acrodia on Facebook. I deleted Twitter because I thought it was annoying. And
It
then
is annoying.
I got little AAA stuff going on down here. I work for Sierra Portis in Puerto Vallarta. I think we have an East Texas show I'm doing for East Texas Pro. I think the 2nd of August. Best of the West. I'm waiting for the date on that. That's coming up. in September. We've got Lucha Extreme on their I'm their TV champion. You know, and I'm supposed to go back to the UK. I'm supposed to go back to Japan. A lot of I'm supposed to, and they'll probably happen. They normally do. You know, it's just when the flyer comes out, you'll see me. I just, you know, never had a contract. I've always been an independent agent, and I've had a really successful wrestling career. You know, to the point where I actually could pay for my own living, and like I've never got signed by the WWE or AEW or you know, or any of that stuff. Any contract I've ever looked at, it was just kind of like, yeah, I'm cool. I make more money on my own.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna do my own thing. You have fun with that.
Wow. Okay. 'Cause I noticed like the surge now, like especially here in the States, like the the surge of lucha wrestling. Like it seems like in the States, like it got bigger than it ever was.
It's growing. I mean, that's where wrestling comes from. It all started with lucha libre.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
it all comes from here. Like this is the you know the heart, if you will, the originator of it all. And so it's always going to grow. You know, the Hispanic community grows, and yeah, it's just you got guys like Rey Mysterio that paved the way, La Parca. You know, now you got freaking Pentagon out there making noise. You know, so it's Alberto Del Rio. You know, there's a lot of Mexican wrestlers that have come through and put it on the map on the mainstream in America, and it's still happening. You know, it's crazy. It's just a different sport, different rules, and I always tell people they're like, "Oh, I want to go." You know, I want to go. Other wrestlers, I should say, when they tell me they want to come, I want to come do lucha libre, and I'm like, well, I got to learn. Like, I know lucha libre. I've done a bunch of lucha shows. I'm like, just because the show in America's had lucha libre in the name doesn't mean it was lucha libre. That's just
Exactly.
like you have to understand. It's a completely different animal, different rules, different. Like you're going to come down here thinking it's American pro wrestling, and you're going to be lost in the sauce, looking like a fucking idiot. Yeah. You know, and honestly, like, yeah, you start making these dudes take it. You know, they got an ego when it comes to this, and if you make them look dumb, like you'll break your leg or something. You'll leave in a stretcher. You know, like they'll
Oh
fuck
my
you up.
God.
You're making them look stupid. They get really mad, really mad.
Well, it was very nice talking to you and meeting you. Thank you so
Nice
much for
meeting
this.
you. Thanks for hitting me up. I'm glad we were able to work the time out. You know, so it's you know get some downtime. I got 10,000 things going on because any of those other days you were hitting, it would have been phone going off. I'm like, yeah, here I am at a show. They're trying to take pictures of me. Fuck off, you know.
Well, have an amazing day. Thanks again so much for this.
Cool. Thanks for having me. Be sure to tag me and I'll be around.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
All right, bro. Thanks for hollering. All right, later.